Councillor Trussell?
Closing the vote, the motion carries 4-0.
Mr. Salisbury, hold on just a second. Are you ready?
Yep.
Okay, you have 5 minutes to the mic in the back, starting now.
Hi there, my name is Jeffrey Salisbury.
Just a second, Jeff.
I think you might.
You just pull that up a little bit. How about now?
Is that good?
Just a little bit closer if you can.
How's this?
Much better, thank you. Hold on, let me just reset your time. Okay, 5 minutes, go.
Hi, my name is Jeffrey Salisbury. I originally came here in March of 2023 to talk about how unaffordable public transit is for disabled people here in London. That situation has not improved in 2024 because the cost of the bus passes now went from $61 up to $72, even with the discount that the subsidy provides. The governments here all over Canada have been failing disabled people. The Ontario government, even though 30 MPs have put in petitions asking for ODSP to be doubled, the United Way of Middlesex County put in a petition signed by over 1,300 people also asking for ODSP to be doubled. The Ontario government continues to ignore all of those requests and keep a ridiculous $556 a month cap on rent, despite the fact that you're never going to find anywhere in Ontario to rent for $556 a month unless you got a time machine. The federal government also has failed disabled people. In the beginning of the pandemic, they had CERB out there, rushed out within 3 weeks, and told everybody, you need a minimum of $2,000 a month to live. Yet no disability program anywhere in Canada is providing even half of that, some significantly less than half. Shortly after, the Prime Minister announced that he would be releasing a new federal disability program called the Canada Disability Benefit. And it's been 4 years since that promise of lifting people to the poverty line with that, and disabled people haven't seen one penny of this program yet, despite it being passed into law over a year ago now. In Budget 2024, they announced they were finally going to fund this benefit, but they tell disabled people, you're only worth providing $6 a day to. That doesn't come anywhere close to their promise of lifting people to the poverty line. So governments continue to fail the disability community here in Canada. So with that said, the report here, I want to recommend that all of these recommendations be accepted with the priority being put on lowering the cost of the pass. I'd like to see maybe the $10 pass that's being provided to blind people be extended to everybody disabled and low income. I want to see that recommendation of being allowed to buy the pass online rather than force people to come into specific offices to buy it. And I want to see the only requiring you to apply one time for this rather than have to continue to keep applying for that yearly, because that just puts a burden on the person not only applying, but the city staff having to keep reapproving these applications over and over. So in closing, I really want this to get accepted, and this to be implemented as quickly as possible to help the disabled community to be able to afford public transit. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Salisbury. And that is the only delegation for that, so I will look to committee to, actually, there's no public, that's it. We don't need to close. Okay, look into committee to move the staff recommendation or anything that you might have. Councillor Trussell moved, looking for a seconder.
Thank you.
Seconded by Councillor McAllister. Okay, I'm looking for a speakers list. Councillor Purple.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, to the staff. I have, I think, 3-4 questions. The first one is the Table 5 I assume the projections are in the budget, and what would be the source of funding for the additional dollars for the column that says actuals? If we identify the source of funding for, if it's at the end of the year, if we are higher. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Ms. Smith.
Thank you. And through the chair, we've been tracking this very closely because of the increase in the monthly bus passes. So we have a council-approved budget for all 5 programs for approximately $1.5 million. So based on our projections to date and the actuals to date, and that's only the first 5.5 months of this year, we're expecting to be over close to 1.6 to 1.7 million. So any of those over expenditures, we pay out the actuals to the LTC, as we don't have a wait list for any of these programs. So we will work with finance to find that money through savings in my current base budget.
Councillor.
Okay, thank you for that. 3.3 next steps, and they are listed at, when would these steps be taking place?
Thank you, Councillor.
Thank you. I'll have Ms. Pollock speak to the next steps that she and her team are undertaking.
Ms. Pawlik.
Yes. Thank you, and through the chair. So we'll start working on the next steps immediately. We're already in discussions with internal, external partners, as well as the LTC. So that work will start in 2024. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor.
Thank you for that. And some survey results are oriented towards the LTC services, and I know you just mentioned that talking with the partners, but is there any plan kind of based on past experiences or future, how we can cooperate maybe even better with the LTC? Because a lot of these surveys questions are actually oriented towards the service provider, which is LTC.
Thank you, Councillor. Back to staff. Ms. Smith.
Thank you. And through the chair, we work very closely with the LTC on these 5 programs. And you're correct. We, for example, Mr. Salisbury and others raised some good examples about the ability to buy the monthly pass. So, and the income-related transit program, applicants apply once a year online, and then there's about 8 or 9 locations where they have to go and purchase the pass monthly. So we're working with our partners such as the LTC to look at if we can get the pass online. The challenge with this is, you know, a number of these recommendations have budget implications. So to make any large changes to the program, to the process, and or to the budgets would have an impact on the budget, and we currently don't have direction from council nor the budget to make those changes.
Thank you, Councillor.
Thank you. And I have last question. And in the financial impact and consideration, which is the last section above the conclusion, the second paragraph, and the ending is the existing budget and others would require the additional financial instruments and further analysis. What is the time plan for that, or would that be coming back to us, and any specific timeline? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Ms. Smith.
Thank you. And through the chair, unless further directed from council to make any of the specific recommendations or the changes to the program, we don't have the financial resources to make any of those additional recommendations to the program unless we're directed. Sorry, and through that direction, we would then bring a business case to the budget.
Thank you. Councillor.
Actually, no more questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Looking to committee. I had some questions, but Councillor Pribble did ask them, so I don't anymore. So no last call. Okay, let's call the question.
Closing the vote, the motion carries 4-0.
Okay, that leaves us to item 0.9. I'm going to look to staff for a summary on this before we do anything. So I will go to Mr. Thalberg.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And so the report before you this evening it's really highlighting how the context and the market has changed since 2021 when the roadmap to 3,000 was originally approved. As you can see with a number of the different reports on the agenda this evening, affordable housing is an incredibly nuanced, incredibly complex process, and it involves a lot of detailed work based on the financing and interest rates that a developer would be required to implement. The complexity that we have in this space, it really benefits from having a clear and consistent approach to how the city is supporting affordable housing in London. So through this report, what we're looking to do is formalize the city's contribution for both affordable and highly supportive housing at $45,000 per unit. We're also identifying a strategy for us to align the Housing Accelerator funds for both affordable housing and the highly supportive. So it was identified as a program within, an incentive within the housing